hey, guess what? The summer of 2025 called. They want their trade rumors back. Today we're talking about Anaheim Ducks center Mason McTavish and an idea proposed by none other than Pierre LeBrun that asks whether or not McTavish could be traded to the Maple Leafs for Auston Matthews. This is a big one. So, McTavish, of course, is a 23-year-old, 6'1", 218-pound center, a third overall pick by the Anaheim Ducks, and he signed on till the end of 2031, making $7 million a year. Now, last year's RFA negotiations for McTavish, it was the biggest topic in hockey. We were talking about this dude because there were not really many other guys available that we could talk about. And McTavish, it seemed like he was unhappy with his situation in Anaheim. He wanted a certain amount of money. The Ducks weren't giving it to him. And so he ended up signing his contract, the current contract, which goes on till 2031. When was the signing date? Here it is. Signing details. It was signed on September 25th, 2025. He waited until the last second, pretty much, and the entire summer was filled with speculation and rumors as to whether or not McTavish could get offer sheeted or if he could get traded somewhere else. Now, McTavish this year had 41 points in 75 games, a decline from the 52-point season he had last year in 76 games. You look at the Anaheim Ducks and you look at their center core, and you could probably say there is room for somebody to move. Leo Carlsson plays center, but Troy Terry can too. Mikael Granlund was a really nice center, and then Mason McTavish, Ryan Poehling, they all round out what was the middle in Anaheim. Ryan Strome was there for a bit, but I guess we could say that he was no longer needed after a certain amount of time. But with that said, Mason McTavish is in a pretty vulnerable spot when you look at who he is and what he has done. Which is why Pierre LeBrun's latest NHL Rumblings article goes over the idea of McTavish heading to the Maple Leafs. Now, this is a gift article. The Athletic is paid for material, so generally speaking, we don't go onto the website itself and just screen record the articles, but because this one was shared to us as a gift, it is available. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to read it yourself. Instead, because I want to stick to tradition, let's go out there and read Spectre's Hockey from yesterday, May 28th, 2026. Because Lyle Richardson does go out there and report on the same Pierre LeBrun notes. LeBrun believes Mason McTavish will be a trade target this offseason. He admits there is zero evidence that the Ducks are shopping the 23-year-old center, but he said he knows for a fact that several teams have inquired about him, despite the fact he regressed this season following a contract dispute. McTavish has another 5 years remaining on his contract with an AAV of $7 million, and according to LeBrun, some teams view him as an ideal reset candidate, which is all the more reason why the Ducks won't move him unless a team makes a major pitch. An ideal pitch would be if the Toronto Maple Leafs offered up Auston Matthews, who could have Anaheim on his list of 7 or 8 potential landing spots. However, LeBrun believes that Matthews will return with the Maple Leafs next season, at least. Now that's a really hot way to start out your article, Pierre LeBrun. Thinking about Auston Matthews and whether or not he's going to stick around? Now, it's no secret that Auston Matthews' trade conversation has been running rampant this season, especially since he got taken out with the Radko Gudas knee-on-knee hit, courtesy of the Anaheim Ducks as well. Would it not be so ironic if Radko Gudas, the captain of the Ducks, ends the season of Matthews, the captain of the Maple Leafs, only to see Matthews find himself in Anaheim 1 year later? Is it possible? Who really knows? We have made our videos talking about the Auston Matthews situation and describing which of the teams it is he would be interested in going to. Apparently, he would be fine with that California, Nevada, maybe even Utah-ish area, western, southern United States. And so, if McTavish is an available option from the Anaheim Ducks, I actually do think it would make sense if you were to connect the dots in that way, as Pierre LeBrun did. But obviously, we could say, Mason McTavish is not a guy who has the same trade value as an Auston Matthews. The only way a trade like this goes through 1-for-1 is if Matthews legitimately only has Anaheim as a list of destinations. It's Anaheim, and then it's Anaheim, and then it's the Ducks. Mitch Marner essentially did the same thing with the Vegas Golden Knights last year. It's why the Leafs got squat all for him. If Auston Matthews demands his hand and says he can only be traded to the Ducks, then maybe Mason McTavish is the best you could get. For Toronto's sake, I hope that Auston Matthews is okay with a number of other teams. Probably LA, probably San Jose, probably Utah, Vegas even. But if you go back over to Spector's hockey, this is what Spector's note goes out there and says. The Ducks have over $38.7 million in projected salary cap space for 26-27, which is more than enough to carry McTavish's cap hit. However, LeBrun noted that the Ducks and their stars, Leo Carlsson and Cutter Gauthier, are in line for substantial raises coming off of their ELCs. He believes that could be a reason why the Ducks might entertain offers for McTavish. Several teams are in the market for depth at center. The LA Kings spring to mind, but it's unlikely the Ducks will send McTavish to a local rival. The Minnesota Wild need a first-line center, but McTavish is not ready to fill that role yet, if ever, and he would be a good fit age-wise with the young Montreal Canadiens. He could address their need for a second-line C, but there is concern about his speed and his struggles this season. So, all valid points, and all things to bring up when talking about McTavish potentially getting moved anywhere. But this Auston Matthews Toronto idea is so interesting to me that we just had to go out there and make a video about it. McTavish, by the way, he does represent Canada, and he did play his youth hockey in Ottawa. But this is a guy that was born in Switzerland, and his youth team is listed as EV Zug, also out of Switzerland. Really interesting player profile here for Mason McTavish. It doesn't seem like if he goes to the Maple Leafs, he'd be a quote-unquote hometown kid coming back. But we've seen guys from all over the world make Toronto their home and excel in superstardom-like territory. I also do think it would be really interesting to have a McKenna and McTavish pairing together on a first line long term. You can have the mix doing their thing in Toronto with McTavish and McKenna, and Auston Matthews could be the potential trade price there. So with all that said, you can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about Pierre LeBrun's idea of Auston Matthews for Mason McTavish? Does this actually make sense in your opinion? Is it too much of a trade value discrepancy to take seriously? Or is there a world where you could see Auston Matthews potentially forcing his way to Anaheim of all teams to carry over the C left over by Radko Gudas, assuming that guy doesn't come back to the Ducks? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about this McTavish, Matthews, Anaheim, Toronto thing. It would add so many layers of entertainment to our off-season discourse, but I hope you enjoyed this video. Sign on, and bye.